Y'all need something?
I'm gonna take this off the mute. Alright, let's take this off mute. Shabbat Shalom. It's the Sabbath. Blowing of the trumpet. Not a weekly Sabbath, but it's a feastly Sabbath. So let's get it in. We're gonna get it in. We're gonna so why do we celebrate the Feast of Trumpets? And why do we celebrate it on the fourth day of the week? All right, so we're gonna go into that today in today's. So the brothers and sisters that's watching out there, we hope that we can edify the brothers and sisters in today's time by going into the Dead Sea Scrolls and by showing the calendar that we believe to be true, based off our records that we have. We're not disagreeing with other people who celebrate the holy days on the lunar cycle calendar. We're not disagreeing with people who celebrate the holy days on just dealing with the Enoch calendar by itself without dealing with the Dead Sea Scrolls. But we believe the Dead Sea Scrolls, is the key to understanding the true Enoch calendar. All right, so let's get into it. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. Let's get into it. We're gonna go to Leviticus chapter 23. And Brother Benaiah, read verse 23 through 32 from it. And we're here, Royal Scepter Yeshaya, the Jerusalem Ministry, God Family Nation, the Children Bread, Happy Feast of Memorial Blowing of the Trumpets. All right, so Leviticus chapter 23, verse 23.
Verse 23. And the Most High spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial blowing of trumpets and holy convocation.
And this is going on right now. We're having a memorial of blowing of the trumpets. Hey, but you get the shofar? Yeah, the shofar. So we at the water. So we haven't it's the first day of the 7th month right here. The first day of the 7th month. And it's the memorial of the blowing of the trumpet. It's a holy convocation. Keep going, bro.
Ye shall do no servile work. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High.
So on the 10th day of this month, this is the first day of the 7th month. So we count 9 days later. We got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Thursday, sundown. Friday is the feast. It is the what we call the Day of Atonement. It's the Day of Atonement. And then right after the Day of Atonement is the Shabbat. It's the weekly Shabbat. All right. So I'm trying to get rid of using Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're gonna just use the first day of the week, second day of the week, third day of the week, fourth day of the week, fifth day of the week, sixth day of the week, seventh day of the week, to get away from those Roman names, those Greco-Roman names, so we can just deal with what the scriptures talk about, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the days of the week. So keep going, bro.
Okay, verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Most High your God. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. Verse 30. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Verse 31. Ye shall do no manner of work, it shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings.
Verse 32.
Verse 32, it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day, on the 9th month, on the on the 9th day of the month, at even, from even unto even, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
So from this dealing with the month, the 7th month, dealing with the 7th month. So this 7th month is important. It's important. We're going to talk about it, how important it is. And we're going to show why our feast of blowing of the trumpets, the memorial of blowing of the trumpets, lands on the 4th day of the week every year around the equinox. All right. Why we do it that way? Okay, the Most High has an order. He has an order to how he do things, and he has an order with the calendar. So read verse 23 to 25 again from the bro.
Okay. Verse 23. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial blowing of trumpets and holy convocations.
So the feast days, they are considered Sabbaths. Keep on.
Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High.
So it's the memorial of blowing the trumpet. Oh, you're not gonna do it.
You're gonna get it. There we go.
It's the memorial of blowing the trumpet. So we sounding the alarm. We sounding the alarm. We out here in Dar es Salaam. We out here in East Africa. We're sounding the alarm to our brothers and sisters to come to East Africa, come to Africa, come, this way, link in with us. We sounded the alarm. We in those days. We sounded the alarm. So now we're gonna check out. Let's go to the Dead Sea Scrolls. So page 78 through 79. But start right here on that chapter right there.
Okay. This paragraph here.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this is the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Penguin Classics, page 78, and this is the 2nd paragraph. It says, to understand the peculiarity of Essenism, in this respect, a few words need to be said about the calendar followed by non-sectarian Judaism. Essentially, this was regulated by the movements of the moon.
So most Judeans, most Judaism, people who follow Judaism, or brothers and sisters, who follow in the lunar calendar, they're dealing with a lunar cycle. Most Judaism people, and even Hebrew Israelites, they're dealing with the moon. Keep going, bro.
Okay, months vary in duration from 29 to 30 days, and the year consisted of 12 months of 354 days.
So that's the lunar. That's dealing with the lunar cycle. Brothers and sisters who celebrate the lunar cycle, their blowing of the trumpets was Thursday sundown to Friday sundown, if I'm not mistaken. They dealing with the lunar. All right. But because they're dealing with a lunar new moon happened on last Thursday. All right. So if I'm not mistaken. So they dealing with that way, but they saying how you got most Judaism people, most people deal with the lunar calendar. Keep going.
Okay. Needless to say, such a lunar year does not correspond to the 4 seasons determined by the movements of the sun.
So the 4 seasons determined by the movements of the sun, it really don't go based on that. It really, if you're dealing with a lunar cycle, which we're not against brothers dealing with the lunar cycle, we're just trying to do things more closely to how what wasn't done before any tampering. So us dealing with the sun cycle, we have a 364 cycle, and it lines perfectly up with the seasons. All right, keep going, bro.
Needless to say, such a lunar year does not correspond to the 4 seasons determined by the movements of the sun in terms of solstices and equinoxes. The shortfall of about 10 days between the lunar and the solar years was therefore compensated for by means of intercalation, right? I.e., by inserting after Adar, February, March, the 12th month of the year, a supplementary second Adar at the end of every 36 lunar months.
So at the end of every 36 lunar months, the lunar calendar has to add an extra Adar. They actually add a 13th month so they can keep up, they can stay in line with the seasons. All right. But we don't have to do that dealing with the Dead Sea Scrolls calendar. We don't have to do that. And for brothers and sisters dealing with the Enoch calendar just by itself, they're gonna end up going out of season eventually. And we're gonna show that in Jubilees, how Jubilees speaks about that, about you not observing the calendar according to how it's supposed to be started, which is on the 4th day of the week. If you don't start the calendar on the 4th day of the week and you're dealing with the Enoch calendar, you eventually gonna go out of season. So let's keep going.
The Qumran sect rejected this seemingly artificial system and adopted instead a chronological reckoning, probably of priestly origin, based on the sun, a practice attested also in the book of Jubilees and First Enoch.
So they dealing with Jubilees and Enoch. They dealing with the calendar the correct way, understanding what day of the week we start the calendar, understanding the longest day of the year, the shortest day of the year, the 2 equal parts day and nights that come twice a year, one in the spring and one in the autumn time where we at right now. So they understood that equations. Keep going.
The book of Jubilees and Enoch, and fully laid out in the remains of a series of calendrical documents. The outstanding feature of this solar calendar was its absolute regularity, in that instead of 354 days, not divisible by 7, it consisted of 364 days, i.e. 52 weeks precisely. Each of its 4 seasons was 13 weeks long, divided into 3 months of 30 days each, plus an additional remembrance day, linking one season to another.
Yeah, so that's what it is. So this is actually commentary of scholars telling you how the Qumran sect followed their calendar. All right, so they follow their calendar a certain way, which we're going to go into. You know, dealing with the Feast of the Memorial blowing of the trumpets. But keep going, bro.
In tune in this with the laws of the great light of heaven.
It's laws in the great lights of heaven. It's laws that we have to keep in the great lights of heaven. It's going to tell you what it is. Keep going.
And not with the festivals of the nations. Qumran saw its calendar as corresponding to the certain law from the month of the Most High. Its unbroken rhythm meant, furthermore, that the first day of the year and of each subsequent season also fell on the same day of the week.
And what day is that? Keep going to tell you. Keep going.
For the Essenes, this was Wednesday.
This is the 4th day of the week. So every seasonal changing month, the first day of every seasonal changing month would start on the 4th day of the week, on the day that the sun and the moon and the stars was created. All right, keep going, bro.
Okay. For the Essenes, this was Wednesday, since according to Genesis, it was on the 4th day that the sun and the moon were created.
All right, so let's go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 14.
This is Genesis, the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 14. What's going on with
that? Let me just put it right there.
Excuse us.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The YouTube. All right, so yeah, Genesis chapter 1.
And verse 14. Right?
Yeah.
And the Most High said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. And let, verse 15, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so.
Hold on, so read verse 14 again. What verse 14 say?
And the Most High said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years.
So we're reading on the 4th day of the week. So these lights, the sun, moon, and stars, they were created on the 4th day of the week to be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. So every seasonal changing month will start on the 4th day of the week. Keep going, bro.
And verse 15, excuse me, verse 15, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so. And the Most High made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And the Most High set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. 18, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And the Most High saw that it was good. 19, and the evening and the morning were the 4th day.
Exactly. And the evening and the morning were the 4th day. So the 4th day of the week, that would be all your seasonal changing month, the 1st month, the 4th month, the 7th month, and the 10th month. All those months will start. The 1st day of those months will start on the 4th day of the week. All right, because that's the day the luminaries were created. All right, for signs, for seasons, and for days, and for years. Okay, so you can't start the calendar without starting the calendar on the day that the sun and the moon and the stars was created. You can't do that. If you do, you're gonna throw yourself off, and we're gonna talk about this. So let's go to Jubilee, the book of Jubilee. Go to Jubilee. Let's go to Jubilees chapter 6. Jubilees chapter 6. And we apologize for that music, y'all. For y'all who know Styles P. But let's go to Jubilees chapter 6. And let's start at verse 23. Look at verse 23.
Right, this is the book of Jubilees, chapter 6 and verse 23. And on the new moon of the 1st month, and on the new moon of the 4th month, and on the new moon of the 7th month, and on the new moon of the 10th month are the days of remembrance.
How are these days of remembrance? They're on the days of remembrance if we start them on the 4th day of the week. These how they're going to be days of remembrance if we start them on the 4th day of the week. We would know each day of these seasonal changing months will start on the 4th day of the week. That will get us to remember, because it's a heavenly light rule. It's a heavenly light rule, which is in Genesis chapter 1, was telling us, these shall be, these shall be for signs, for seasons, for days, and for
Just give us a minute. Tell them to give us a minute.
All right, so this is how they will be in remembrance, because those seasonal changing days starts on the 4th day of the week. All right, and it's a heavenly law. It's a heavenly law that we should start those days on the 4th day. Start the calendar. It's a law. It tell you in Genesis. It say in Genesis, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. He's telling you, and let them, this is a commandment, let them be for signs. If you don't let them be for signs and for day of the years on the 4th day of the week, then you're going to throw the calendar off. Keep going, bro.
Let me get my spot back real quick. Let me just read verse over. And on the new moon of the first, month, and on the new moon of the fourth month, and on the new moon of the seventh month, and on the new moon of the 10th month are the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year.
So when people say, "Oh, the new moon is dealing with a new moon, a lunar new moon," no, if the Most High gave us a commandment to start the calendar on the 4th day of the week, then obviously the new moon is not dealing with a new lunar moon. Because the new lunar moon, it can land on any day of the week. any month. It land on any day of the week. So it's not, the new moon is talking about Kadash. My Hebrew is not so good, but it's talking about Kadash, you know what I'm saying, which is the Moedim, dealing with the Kadash, dealing with the first day of the first of these changing season of these months, the first day of the month. Okay, so keep going, bro. Keep going.
These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. Verse 24. And Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him.
So this is the memorial. This is how they are a memorial. They are a memorial. Every first month of the seasonal changing months is a memorial. It's a memorial. Keep going.
Verse 25. And on the new moon of the first month, he was bidden to make for himself an ark. And on that day, the earth became dry, and he opened the ark and saw the earth. Verse 26. And on the new moon of the 4th month, the mouths of the depths of the abyss beneath were closed. And on the new moon of the 7th month, all the mouths of the abysses of the earth were open, and the waters began to descend into them. Verse 27. And on the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad. Verse 28. And on this account, he ordained them for himself as feasts for a memorial forever. And thus are they ordained. And they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks. From one to another. Past their memorial. From the first to the second, from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth. And all the days of the commandment will be 250 weeks of days. And these will make the year, and these will make the entire year complete.
So this will make the year complete, 364 days. And these days are in memorial. These days are in memorial. So we in the memorial of blowing of the trumpets, the 7th month. This is a memorial. All right, so this is a memorial. Keep going, bro.
Thus, it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets. And there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year.
What commandment he's talking about? He's talking about the heavenly commandment that we just read, that the scholar was talking about in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Talking about the heavenly lights commandment. That commandment is telling us to start the calendar on the 4th day of the week. If you don't start the calendar on the 4th day of the week, it's going to show you what's going to happen. Keep going.
And there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year or from year to year. Verse 32. And 364 days, and these will constitute a complete year. And they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts. For everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast.
So if you start the calendar on the 4th day of the week, after the equinox, if you're dealing with equal parts day and night, which is the equinox, we're gonna touch on in a second. So if you're dealing with that, all the holy days will fall right in place on how they're supposed to be. According to how Abraham, according to the book of Jubilees, the right way. Because the book of Jubilees tell you it's a specific day for first fruits, which is on the 3rd month, on the 15th day. And the only way you get that calculation is by starting the calendar on the 4th day of the week. All right, so keep going, bro.
Verse 33. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order.
So what's going to happen if you don't start if you're dealing with the Enoch calendar and you're not starting on the 4th day of the week, and you're not understanding the Dead Sea Scrolls missing piece of the Enoch calendar, what's going to happen is you're going to dislodge. Your seasons is going to go out, or you're going to eventually, your Passover is going to start in February soon. Your Passover is going to start early March. This is going to be going to February. Keep going, bro.
And they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances, and all the children of Israel will forget and will not find the path of the years, and will forget the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths, and they will go wrong as to all the order of the years. For I know, and from henceforth will I declare it unto thee, and it is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles after their error and after their ignorance.
So, well, so it ain't even talking about the moon yet. It ain't even talking about the moon yet. So it's just, if you don't start the calendar according to the heavenly lights when it was created, you're gonna go out of season. Okay, your holy days are gonna be off, and you're gonna be calling holy days abominable days unknowingly, because we're not doing it according to how what is right there in Genesis. It's in Genesis. The 4th day of the week, that's when the sun was created. The 4th day of the week, that's when the moon was created. That's why even people who follow the lunar calendar, they wait until after the equinox, okay? Even though the moon is their leader, but they wait until after the equinox to start their calendar, you know, because they're dealing with the equinox, dealing with the sun, okay? So even the lunar calendar, they're waiting for the equinox to happen so they can start their calendar, you know? But if you don't start the calendar on the 4th day of the week, you all out of wax. You all out of wax. I just read, keep going.
Verse 36. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon.
Now we're talking about the moon. So then you will have some of our people, some people start doing them things on based off the moon. All right. So what was he talking about first? At first he's talking about the heavenly light. That's what it's an order that's going to get us to 364 a correct way by starting the calendar on the 4th day of the week. All right.
Verse 37. Verse 37. For this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day the day of testimony, and an unclean day a feast day, and they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean day with the holy. For they will go wrong as to the months and Sabbaths and feasts and jubilees.
So you start following the moon, then you just go on. So it's two things he's speaking about. He's speaking about one thing. It's not really clear what he's speaking about unless you have an understanding of the Dead Sea Scrolls. And then the second thing he's speaking about the moon. All right. So he's giving us two things. So the first thing is, if you follow the Enoch calendar without dealing with the Dead Sea Scrolls, understanding with the 4th day of the week, you're gonna throw everything off. The second understanding is, if you just strictly dealing with the moon, you're gonna throw everything off too, because that wasn't originally what it was. The sun is the leader. All right. So we can start right there. Let's go to we'll go to Jubilee chapter 31. Jubilee chapter 31. You know what we're going to see. All right, so you know what? Let's just go to We're gonna go to Philo. We're gonna go to Philo. All right, so this is Philo on creation. Start at stanza 116 right there.
Okay.
And then just read that.
And the sun, the ruler of the day, making two equinoxes every year, both in spring and autumn. The spring equinox in the constellation of Aries and the autumnal one in Libra gives the most evident demonstration possible of the divine dignity of the number 7. For each of the equinoxes takes place in the 7th month, at which time men are expressly commanded by law to celebrate the greatest and most popular and comprehensive festivals, since it is owing to both these seasons, that all the fruits of the earth are engendered and brought to perfection, the fruit of corn and all other things which are sown, being owing to the vernal equinox, and that of the vine and of all the other plants which bear herbs, which bear hard berries, of which there are great numbers of the autumnal one.
So even Philo, which is he's in the middle and late 1st century, he's a Jewish Greek. He's Jewish living in Egypt. All right. He's a philosopher. He's a philosopher, a Jewish philosopher living in Egypt. And he understanding that the equinox plays an important part. So why do we celebrate the Feast of Blowing of the Trumpets on the 4th day of the week around the equinox? Because the equinox, they are actually the true days of equal day parts and nights. All right. So Philo is nothing to be ignored. He's somebody that should not be ignored. If you're dealing with, you want to deal with early church history, you want to deal with early Judean 1st century history, Philo should not be ignored. All right, so dealing with Philo, he let you know that the equinox is what they base is what everything is based on. Okay, the equinoxes. So let's go to other Philos. So this Philo, this on the special laws, chapter 1, right there.
181.
Yeah.
In the first season, he calls springtime, and its equinox the first season. He ordered that a feast, which is called the Feast of Unleavened Bread, be celebrated for 7 days, and declared that every day was equal in honor in religious services. For he commanded that each day 10 whole burnt offerings should be sacrificed, just as they are for the new moons, making the total number of whole burnt offerings, apart from those dealing with the trespass offerings 70. For he thought that the same reason governed the relation of the new moon of the month, which governed the relation of the 7 days of the feast to the equinox that took place in the 7th month. As a result, he declared sacred both the beginning of each month and the beginning, consisting of the same number of days as the new moons of the aggregate 7 months.
So between these 7 months, 1st month, 2nd month, 3rd month, 4th month, 5th month, 6th month, 7th month, you have 2 equinox. You have one in the 1st month. You got one at the end of the 12th month going into the 1st month, and you got one at the end of the 6th month going into the 7th month. Those are the equinoxes. Okay, it's the equinoxes. It's the equinoxes. Most people are trying to say that it's not the equinoxes. It's the equinoxes. You got some fairly new stuff like the equilux. Okay, and we're gonna talk about it in just a second. The equilux, you maybe the equilux happen from 16th to the 17th, of March, and then another equilux happened in September also. around that certain same time. But the equinox it has you look at the hours, the hours will match, the hours would be equal hours day, equal hours night, and even the minutes will even match. But Enoch wasn't never speaking about minutes, he was only speaking about parts. Parts is hours. So the equinox, when you look at the equinox, it'd be same amount of parts day, same amount of parts nights, but the degrees are perfectly in line with a 360-degree cycle, like the sun is on. Okay, and I'm gonna show you that in just a second. Go to 1 Samuel real quick. I mean 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 19. We almost done, y'all. So 2 Samuel chapter 21, verse 9.
21.
Yeah, 21, I'm sorry.
This is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 21, verse 9. And he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the hill before the Most High. And they fell all 7 together and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days, in the beginning of barley harvest.
So what's the beginning of the barley harvest? We're gonna find out what scholars say is the beginning of the barley harvest. Now go to Ruth, the book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 22. What's the beginning of the barley harvest? What's the beginning of the barley harvest? We're gonna talk about it in just a second.
Ruth.
Ruth, chapter Moja, verse 22.
You can't be coming with the Swahili. But no, I'm good with the Swahili.
Good, Swahili. We in Dar es Salaam. We in Jerusalem.
That's what it sounds like. Okay, 1 and verse. This is the book of Ruth, chapter 1 and verse 22. So Naomi returned, and Ruth, the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab. And they continued to Bethlehem in the beginning of barley harvest.
The beginning of the barley harvest. What is the beginning of the barley harvest? Now, when we go to the TSK cross-reference commentary on Bible Eastward, it tells you the beginning of the beginning of the barley harvest. It happens in Judea around the vernal equinox. Ain't nobody dealing with no equinox. It's dealing with the equinox. So people coming out nowadays, oh, the equinox, the equinox, the equinox. The equinox is something fairly new because of the astronomical technology that we have now. But if we just dealing with sundials, just straight up sundials, nobody knows nothing about no equinox. No, the ancients didn't know nothing about no equinox. It's the equinox, which is the great sign that we're going to read in Jubilees that it speaks about. It's a great sign that happens all over the world. Every country knows about the equinox. Nobody knows about the equinox. You know what I'm saying? For real, nobody really knows about it. The equinox happened 3-4 days before the equinox because it's coming to that perfect degree, what we're going to talk about. All right, so it was a sundial, and I gotta mention that it was sundials found at the Qumran caves to let you know those community at these caves in Judea, in the Judean mountains around the Judean desert. These brothers and sisters had sundials, and this is how you calculate the sun. Sundial was created 360 degrees. All right, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. All right, that makes up 360 degrees. When the sun rises on the east, it will rise 90 degrees east. When the sun set on the west, it will set 270 degrees west. All right, and that's your equinox. That's your equal parts day and nights when the sun is in the center, right above the equator, is in the center of the earth. Not the equinox. The equinox equations, degrees is not 90 degrees east and it's not 270 degrees west. All right. All right. So when we read, it was a whole book of Enoch found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's fragments, and when you read those fragments of the book of Enoch that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's different than the book of Enoch that we have today. All right. So I believe it was things in the book of Enoch that we don't have today. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you read the book of Enoch and if you just go strictly off the book of Enoch based on the calendar, you're gonna end up going out of seasons. You're gonna end up going out of season like a lot of Hebrew Israelite camps now who follow the Enoch calendar. They're going out of season. And most scholars say the Enoch calendar, it's not right. They say it's not right. If you follow it for 20, 30 years, you're going to end up going out of season. They correct. But the missing key was in the Dead Sea Scrolls, was in a time capsule that got found in the 20th century. All right? That's the missing key. It's the missing key. So we're going to 2 more things and then we're done. So let me try to make this a little bigger right here so you can see this. Benaiah, let's see. Let me move this. All right, so this is Jerusalem, right? This is timeanddate.com. I recommend brothers to use timeanddate.com. Or you can go ahead and get you a sundial and do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? But it's timeanddate.com. All right, now, this dealing with, we're in the autumn equinox, All right, so today is September the 20th. Okay, you see what did the sun rise at? What's the degrees on the sun right there?
88.
88 degrees east rising, okay? And what's the sunset?
272.
272. That's not in the center of a 360 degree thing. That's not in the center. In the center, it would be what math's supposed to be. It's really just math. So now we're gonna go to this is the equinox this year. It's between the 23rd and the 24th. All right. So it usually be between the autumn equinox between, it usually be like 21st, 22nd, or 23rd, 24th. Most of the time it's 22nd, 23rd. That's the autumn equinox. All right. So read what the autumn equinox says. What's the degrees of the sun rising?
90 degrees east.
90 degrees. What's the degrees of the sun setting?
270 degrees west.
270 degrees west. Let me do something else different. Now let's go to the 23rd. 23rd is this is the autumn equinox on the 23rd. What's the degrees of it rising?
89 degrees.
89 degrees. But the day started when the sun set, right?
Exactly.
What's the degrees right there?
270.
270 degrees when the sun set, west. You go to the 24th, what's the degrees when it rises?
90 degrees east.
That's the equinox. The equinox is because the sun is going on regardless, people say the earth flat or round, regardless of that, the sun is going through a cycle throughout portals in a circular motion throughout portals throughout the earth. It's going throughout portals. All right. So when it's coming back in the center, the sun will rise 90 degrees east and 270, it was set 270 degrees west. All right. That would be the day of the equinox. That will always do that. And the ancient people, they never had they had a sundial. And when dealing with the sundial, you can calculate the degrees on the sundial. All right. So, and that's how they knew this is the sign of the end of the year and the season changing, or this is the sign of half of the year and the season changing. That's how they calculated it. All right, that's how they calculated it. Equinox is fairly new, so you'll hear people coming down nowadays. Equinox, the equinox, March 16th, March 17th, September 18th, September 19th, whatever. You know, this is the equinox because we see you see on the equinox is at 6:28 a.m. the sunrise. Then they got 6:33 p.m. the sunset. They like, oh no, that can't be it. But Enoch ain't never said nothing about minutes.
Right.
He only spoke about parts. He only spoke about hours.
Yeah.
So it's still equal parts day and it's still equal parts night. You know what I'm saying? So and this what people don't understand, the degrees that come with dealing with a sundown. It was a sundown found at the Carmel Caves. All right. To understand that people dealt with sundowns. They dealt with sundowns. All right. But now it's so much astronomical technology. You don't have to deal with sundowns if you don't want to. You can go on timeofday.com and you can get the information. All right. So the two last things, go to Jubilees chapter 2. Jubilees chapter 2, verse 8 through 9. And this is where everybody waits. Even people who follow the lunar calendar, they wait for this. They wait for this thing about to show right here. And this is in the Dead Sea. This is in the book of Jubilees the whole time. I'm about to show you right here.
The book of Jubilees, chapter 2, verse 8 and 9. These four great works the Most High created on the third day. And on the fourth day, he created the sun and the moon and the stars and set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon all the earth and to rule over the day and the night and divide the light from the darkness. And the Most High appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days and for Sabbaths and for months and for feasts and for years and for Sabbaths of years and for jubilees and for all seasons of the year.
The great sign. What's the great? The great sign is dealing with the sun when it's dealing with the equinox. That's the great sign. The equinox happens around the world. Every culture knows about, even if it's said in a different language. In Japan, they have a holiday for the equinox. Okay, every culture deals with the equinox. That's the great sign. That's the sign that people see when the sun is in the center of the earth, right above the equator. That's the great sign. That's the great sign. And even lunar calendar, people who follow lunar calendar, for them to start their year, they wait till after the equinox. They start their year, the lunar new moon after the equinox. So, you know, that's important. It's important. So this is why we celebrate the blowing of the trumpets in every seasonal changing month on the fourth day of the week, because that's what it was originally was that we see in Genesis. It's the original way. So the last thing, we'll go to the Dead Sea Scrolls right here. The next thing right here. So I'm gonna give you this right here. My Dead Sea Scrolls falling apart. Just read. This is the first year of the feast. Okay, they kept a 6-year cycle of the calendar. This is the first year. Read the days that the holy days follow.
Okay. This is the Dead Sea Scrolls, page 351, calendars of priestly courses, fragment 4. The first year, its feast on the third day. Excuse me, let me start. The first year, its feast on the third day in the week of Mosiah, the Passover. On the first day in the week of Jediah, the waving of the sheaf. On the 5th day in the week of Siorim, the second Passover vacate. On the first day in the week of Jeshua, the Feast of Weeks. On the 4th day in the week of Mosiah, The day of memorial.
On the 4th day of the week, and each priesthood is just different names for each priest. They rotate. They have a rotation, you know, of what they have to do in the temple weekly. All right. So on the 4th day of the week, in the week of Messiah, it's the day of memorial. It's the day of the blowing of the trumpet. The blowing of the trumpet will always be on the 4th day of the week. Always be on the 4th day of the week. Right, and it'll always be around the equinox. Sometimes the day of memorial, it would the equinox would land actually on the 4th day of the week, the same day as the memorial blowing the trumpets. You know what I'm saying? So if your memorial blowing the trumpets is not around the equinox, the autumn equinox, then you have a calendrical problem. And even for those who follow in the moon, yeah, there would be around the equinox too, but they dealing with the moon, so they still are. You know what I'm saying? Because it should be on the 4th day of the week, because that lunar new moon can land on any day of the week. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's it though, man. Is there any comments or questions, anything?
What if you had somebody? Because I know you can just a lot. What if somebody asks you and be like, you know, well, what about, you know, we start on the 4th day? What about the Sabbath? Then that means the Saturday will be on the 4th day.
Yeah. So, see, it don't change. The Most High created the 1st day, the 2nd day, the 3rd day, the 4th day, the 6th day, the 7th day of the week. Those weeks are unchangeable. Those is straight up set days within the system that He created, that the Most High created. So if we start to count on the 4th day of the week, you know, then it's still the Sabbath will be 4 days later. It will be on what the world calls Saturday, but we know it's just Sabbath. It's the 7th day of the week, the 7th day of the week. So it don't change the days of the week at all. You know, even when we have the Gregorian calendar right now, every month, every 1st day of the month doesn't start on a Sunday or a Monday. It can start on a Tuesday, it can start on a Wednesday, it can start. So, you know, it doesn't change the days of the week. You know, it doesn't change the days of the week. But yeah. So we finished though. We finished. So shalom everybody. Have a wonderful blowing of the memorial of the trumpets. And let's rise. Let's rise.
Get a blast off.
Get a blast. I'm gonna try to get it.
You know.
All right.
This is how we do.